Hey YouTube. Okay, good morning. We're going to talk about Greenleaf, Season 2, Episode 12. Alright, this thing opens up with basically Skanks. He's giving a sermon to his church, right? And the sermon is against homophobia. Now, of course, we've been leading up to this for the last two episodes. Now he's breaking it down for the whole congregation. It's a good argument. I mean, one we've been trying to have for years, points we've been trying to make for years. But, you know, the church has been going back and forth with this thing for years. But now it looks like there's a shift in society and people are actually listening, starting to listen. So maybe this Greenleaf show is mirroring society. Because only a few short years ago, of course, couldn't even speak. Such a subject shouldn't even be spoken of, unless it's in a negative, demeaning way. So he gives, he gives a good talk. But the thing is, I know Basic Skanks is a snake. So whatever comes out of his mouth, you know, I know he has his own motivations. So I haven't figured out exactly what he's up to, but I don't think he's very sincere about this subject around homophobia. I just don't buy it. So because he's a snake, I'm not willing to listen to anything he says. I don't trust anything he says. And I'm sure that's where the family is as well. The Greenleaf's Bishop, May, pretty much everybody except for this Grace sees him that way. Whatever he's doing is for a reason. Okay, so a climax was him saying, "You gotta love the gays. Time to love the gays." And of course, all the ladies in church they do one of these. What the hell are you talking about? That's pretty realistic. That's about where they at with that. I think it's changing, but that's about how people are, you know. So but he keeps on. He's persistent. All right. So the next thing that happens is May and Gigi. Now, May and Gigi, is it because of the murder, or we should say the killing? We ain't gonna call that man's death necessarily a murder, because Uncle Mac was attempting to strangle her ass when she killed him. So some folks may say, well, she hesitated before she called. Well, that only changes the scenario about 2 minutes. So he was trying to kill her. She took him out. We call it the killing. Okay, so since then, May and Gigi have been close for the first time. Now this time, May's even asking her, "Are you okay? You sleep okay, baby?" And give her a little sugar. And yeah, mama. So they've been mother and daughter for the first time. Seems pretty sincere, actually. Okay, so maybe Gigi did something that May would have liked to have done. Part of her would like to have done anyway, because this man molested her daughter, and her daughter killed herself. All right. The sermon that Basic Skanks gave, it went viral. It's all online, and then it also is on the front page of the newspaper that employs Darius. So Darius wrote the article. I guess it went all over the place. I mean, what he said was pretty basic, but it's the argument we've been trying to have for years. So maybe it's not new to everybody. Maybe it is new to some people. Anyway, so Basic Skanks is on the front page. This may be a publicity stunt for him. During the article, apparently it seems that Carlton had been interviewed, and Grace knew nothing about it. Okay, so there's a scene where they're at breakfast or something like that, and Bishop is reading the article, and he is he's just wondering out loud what Basic Skanks is up to. How's he going to ride this into a better position for himself? Anyway, and but Grace didn't have a heads up on the story. I gotta unfilter that. It'll come back to me. Okay. So Kerissa is stressing about money. Now, Miss Kerissa, she loved living in that Greenleaf mansion, right? She loved the lifestyle. and so when they moved out to this little house, and she said like she fixed the house up nice. I mean, hell, as nice as mine. I would love to have a little house. But coming from all that, she doesn't see it that way. And the house is apparently falling apart. So in this little payoff that they did with Basic Skanks, they, for their part of the deal, they got that not only the land across the street from the bishop, they also took title of this house. I don't know what houses cost back there, but sound like, I mean, you know. Anyway, they got the house falling apart. Kerissa's trying to fix it. She's trying to fix the lights. The lights keep going out. I guess if you plug something up in the house, the other things go off, right? So she is she's at the end of her wits. And what she's telling her husband Jacob is, your ass need to get a job, a job, a job, one attached to a paycheck. And he said, no, baby, it's going to be all right. You know, in God's time and all this, you get a job. She's saying that she can, her salary, she works, you know, I guess she's a teacher or administrator at school. She said, the paycheck I get, I can pay the bills, keep us afloat for a while. But I cannot bring this ramshackle house back to life. I can't afford it. You need to get a job. Right? Okay. Next thing we have is we're in Basic Skanks' fancy office. We got a nice office, but there's this gangster. Now it ain't too hard to cast the gangster, right? Because this dude, he blocks out the whole sun, and he's hovered over Basic Skanks at the desk. Tell him to get my money right, bitch. Basic Skanks, he just need a little more time, whatever. And in walks the bishop as he's talking to this gangster. The gangsters, people who want to be intimidating, they don't want to sit down. They want to be up over you, hovering over you. In walks the bishop. The bishop just catches the very tail end of this, but enough to make him curious. Okay, let me see what happened in the argument. He tells, because when Skanks was giving that sermon, he mentioned Calvary and how they all a bunch of closet queens over there, and how they run. He intimated that they ran, they fired their music department man. They fired, what's the child's name? I just said it, Carlton. They had fired Carlton, and pretty much ran Kevin away. But Bishop goes to see him in his office, tell him to keep my name out your mouth. Don't even think about Calvary. Right, he writes them down pretty hard, and the Basic Skanks trying to stand his ground. You know, he's a little man, so you get the little man complex. So he always got his shoulders up. Well, wait a minute, that Basic Skanks. Anyway, Basic Skanks said, "You that sounds like a challenge. Keep my man. I don't know what you're doing to my daughter." And he says, "That's up to her." And I don't think there's any romantic interest between those two, but they kind of rushed the relationship between Grace and him, how she became so quickly interested in him and what he had to say. I guess starting from this homophobia thing. But the bishop's under the impression that she is taken by him in some kind of way, although I don't think it's any kind of physical way. So maybe she wants to follow him or something. I don't know. But so anyway, Bishop storms out of his office. Okay. Grace found out about Kevin. Okay, so Grace is going through Kevin's old office, or his stuff has been brought into her office to go through, and she comes across this place is called the Fortitude Families. Comes across this paperwork where Kevin had been going to these meetings. And so she goes and she confronts Bishop about it. She said, "You know, he was going to those meetings where they make him drink this poison." I guess it's some kind of, call it self-flagellance, where you punish yourself. People want to stop smoking, they shock their ass and all that kind of stuff. Well, as you say in principle, I guess they can cure homosexuality. Anyway, Grace is very disturbed by that. Now, she is sincere about her concern about this homophobia issue. So they have this is the biggest scene in this whole episode. And Grace is telling her that Bishop needs to take a stand and not be against him on this particular issue. And basically, Bishop is saying, they have the big thing, they call out homosexuality, and then Bishop was saying, I just don't know what's right, kind of thing, basically. It's going to take time. Wait. It's a point. It's a very hateful, it's a bad point, but it's the point. It is the truth. It took a long time for people to stop associating slavery with the Bible. And the Bible didn't change. The Bible is still in there. But you rarely find somebody who wants to justify slavery now using the Bible. And so I think in the future that's where it's going to be with this gay issue. Eventually it's just going to be that. But what he was saying is it was a long time. So she said, no, right now. Now's the time. You can make the time. We ain't going to sit around waiting, praying. Make it happen now. So he just said, well, leave the paperwork here. I want to look over it. He doesn't agree with this conversion therapy thing at all, but he's not willing to take a stand in front of the church. And probably with him, he could probably lose some of his church members. Although I would think they were as ignorant as they were, 20 years ago. Still plenty of those type of folks, because you're dealing with old people in a lot of these churches. All right, so they don't agree, and she takes leaves the pamphlets. Grace walks out. Next thing is Charity, and Jabari. Okay, they're working on music together. Charity and Jabari. He asks her out on a date. So they go out on this date, right? And she's sure there's in the meeting, he brings her this electronic thing where she could make her demos there where she lives. She don't got to come to Memphis as often. And so she's taken aback by that. Oh, you don't want me to come? And she said, yeah, I want you to come, but you could do a lot of your demos here. There's no need to. He showed her how to use the machine. So remember, she laid that big sloppy kiss on him last week. So they go out on this date, right? And they get back to the house, and she's about to get hot. See what's going on, the next step kind of thing. And he reaches over there and on the cheek and leaves her there. I know her stuff is hot because I don't even know how often her and Kevin was even carrying on. Her stuff is ready. She's ready, which is a sin. Okay. So the date, disappointing for her. Lady May, her nosy self, she has lunch with that girl that was running the school, or the cotillion. She has lunch with her, and she starts pumping this girl fishing, like she has information she don't have, and finds out that this girl, what's her name? Okay. I forgot the girl's name already. Anyway, the pretty girl who Bishop been flirting with. I guess their name's not important. Rochelle. Okay, Miss Rochelle. She found out, Rochelle was not being totally honest. Because Rochelle says the bishop, she didn't like the way the bishop treated her around her cancer. But this girl's found, so she plays it where this woman ends up admitting that she was involved in a sexual scandal. And the woman says something like, I think it's a shame the way when they blame the woman but not the man. When something like that happens, whatever. And she's intimated that Rochelle never told her about it. She's not supposed to know. She never let her know that she knew. So either this girl had an affair with the pastor there. That's why she left. It was a scandal. Or she actually got pregnant from a pastor there, because usually when they're talking about blaming between a man and a woman, they're talking about blaming for the child, who they're blaming for getting pregnant. So we don't know. One of the two. Either she had an affair with somebody there, or she had an affair with somebody and she got pregnant. Anyway, so now Lady Mae got that to work with. While Lady Mae is in office at one point, this girl calls the bishop. Now, I don't know why she keeps flirting around this thing, trying to be cute. Oh, you better get that. It's Rochelle kind of thing. She playing. She letting this devil into her house. But I guess she feels confident. Yeah, so she just knows that there was a scandal. Okay. Bishop invites his girl to call him by his first name. So he's feeling a little cute himself, you know. Somebody give you a little attention, you know. He's enjoying that. But they're not being clear about, is this something that's going to turn into something? Because he seems to not be trying to hide it from Mae. Mae seems to go along with it, knowing the girl probably likes him. And why is he flirting with this woman now that his wife knows her? So we don't know. Okay. Jacob comes home and finds this boy Isaiah in his daughter's room. Miss Zora. Miss Zora's kind of hot. Well, I guess Miss Zora is just being a teenager. I mean, that's what they do, don't they? They're sneaky. She's got this boy in her room with the door closed and nobody home. Now, we all know that's wrong. And he is, of course, every time he gets an opportunity, going to be trying to get back into stuff. He'd already been there now, so it's going to be an ongoing thing. So he gets an attitude when he don't hit. Every time he don't hit, he's going to get an attitude. Jacob comes home, finds the boy in the room, confronts the boy, checks him about doing this, disrespecting his house, disrespecting his daughter and the parents' wishes. And then if he could not come under submission, he will not be invited back. Okay. Next thing that happens is Bishop and Mae. Bishop comes up with the idea. Let's find out what's going on with this basic Skanks. Basic Skanks just pisses him off. That's his nemesis. They said, well, let's go over here to Jacob and Kerissa's home. We never had dinner over there. They get themselves invited to dinner. Okay, so they want to basically go over there to pump Jacob about this deal of why Basic Skanks took off, what was involved in this deal where he ended up with the land and his house, the whole thing, right? They asked Jacob, and Jacob says no. He got the land and the house, and Basic Skanks got his privacy. So Jacob refused on principle to tell the bishop what's going on. The bishop seems to accept that. Not initially. I mean, he kind of balks a minute, but he accepts it. The boy shouldn't be snitching, telling on somebody he had a business deal with. And then they're preparing to leave, and Kerissa. This girl does not want to be poor. Poor ass woman ass girl. Pay your dues. Kerissa, as they try to put the coat on, she's just saying, "Oh, Bishop, I want to speak to you about this light box we're having." You know, they need new electricity. Bishop could do that with the stroke of a pen. You know, nothing to them. But when she goes to ask him about the lights, Jacob says, "No, don't do that. No." So they escort them out. Lady Mae says it's uncomfortable. They leave. Immediately he tries to check Kerissa. Kerissa tells him, "I'm trying to get the lights on because I'm trying to raise children in this house." Paraphrase. And which makes some sense. I mean, he might be very proud, but that piece of change wouldn't be nothing to the bishop, and they won't be in the dark. Now he has the responsibility of his family. You got to keep the lights on. You want your little girl walking around in the dark. Anyway, he goes hard with that. You know, Kim and the bishop weren't on the best of terms. And so they leave. Jacob checks her, and she ends up checking him. Again, coming back to the issue of him and a job. She really wants him to get one, and she ain't playing. Okay, so Darius. Okay, so Darius is kind of weak singing. I don't like this Darius dude. He's just too. Well, the thing that irritates me about him, maybe his motivations are, you know, transparent. We don't know that, but he could just be playing her for stories about the Greenleaf family. And also, every time they even begin to discuss anything, or not get in the argument, but discuss anything, he says, "Oh, maybe this is not right. We shouldn't do this." He always want to run. My opinion is, if a motherfucker wants to continually threatening to go, let his ass go. Go, Negro. You don't let the door hit you. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Every time they try to have any kind of a dispute about anything, so they don't even know how each other feels about anything, because he always leaves. If he wants to leave, let him go. Anyway, he calls her back and said, okay, in the middle of the night, she's in the bed. She said, "Can you talk?" Yeah. He said, "Well, I'm outside." So he goes out there, and he tells her the story of why he don't go to church anymore. And so apparently he was married at one time. She didn't even know he was married. The woman died in a car accident. And he didn't like the guidance that his bishop or his pastor at his church gave him. God works in mysterious ways, or pray about it. Some flippant thing that he didn't like. So now he's left the church forever. There's something, we're going to find out more about this Darius dude. Maybe he's the next one to die. I don't know. Last thing happens. You know, we already heard now about how this boy Jacob and told his wife, "No, don't ask him for shit. Don't ask him for no money. Don't ask him for no help. Don't tell nobody's business. Stay out of it." Right? We were all clear on that, including the bishop and May. They had the showdown. Don't even ask. Well, Kerissa goes over to that office and gives them the whole rundown. Everything. She drops it about his gambling debts, about he's in debt $250,000. Bishop said, "Can you get proof?" Valuable information about this battle with racist Skanks. And that's when we fade to black. End of episode. Okay, people. See you next week.